On our planet, there are places so vast and extreme that it's hard to imagine ancestral traditions such as sharing one's wife with travelers, enduring temperatures below -50 degrees Celsius, or living in a country with the highest number of single women in the world. But what if I told you there's a place where mothers let their babies sleep outdoors in freezing temperatures to make them stronger? Yes, this place exists, and it's called Russia. Defining Russia in just a few words is practically impossible. When you think of Russia, extreme cold or terms like vodka and Putin probably come to mind. But as you'll see, Russia is far more fascinating than that. Get ready to explore this country and uncover extreme realities like the coldest villages in the world, the longest railway, the most dangerous prisons, or the highest number of single women imaginable. You'll be amazed by stories such as the trend among millionaires to use ambulances as taxis to dodge traffic, the fact that there was once a president who was a KGB spy, or the decades-long isolation of the world's loneliest person. Don't miss this new edition of World Without Filter, where you'll discover Russia in a way you never imagined. Are you ready? To better explore the most remote locations, the wildest traditions, and the most impressive curiosities of Russia, it's helpful to first learn a bit about the geography and recent history of this vast country. This will help you understand the surprising reality of regions like Siberia, with its infamous Gulag prisons, villages like Oymyakon, considered the coldest place on Earth, or areas like Chukotka, where Eskimos live and age while preserving traditions, such as sharing wives with visitors. Russia is the largest country in the world, spanning 2 continents, Europe and Asia, with a total area of approximately 17 million square kilometers. It shares borders with 16 countries, including Finland, China, and North Korea, emphasizing the enormity of its territory. Its geographical location provides a unique climatic diversity that ranges from Arctic regions in the north to subtropical zones in the south. As a result, Russia's temperatures are among the most variable on Earth throughout the year, fluctuating between -67 degrees Celsius and over 45 degrees Celsius. Speaking of cold, a village called Oymyakon is considered the coldest place on Earth, with temperatures dropping as low as -67 degrees Celsius. Because of this extreme climate, Russia has a unique practice to prepare its population, particularly in the coldest regions, that will surely astonish you. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, it helps us bring you more content like this. In these regions, many Russian parents leave their babies outdoors for extended periods, even during winter, to get them accustomed to the cold. That's why these parents often wrap their babies in warm clothing and place them in strollers outside shops or at home while they shop or do household chores, allowing the children to rest or sleep in the cold. This practice stems from the belief that controlled exposure to low temperatures strengthens children's immune systems, making them more resistant to illnesses and better prepared for the country's harsh climate. This impressive climatic diversity is also reflected in a wide variety of landscapes, ranging from Siberia's frozen tundra to dense taiga forests and fertile farmlands. Despite its vast territory, Russia has a population of approximately 146 million, making it one of the most populous countries in the world. However, its population density is among the lowest, with only 8 people per square kilometer. This is because the majority of the population is concentrated in the western regions of the country, particularly in the European part, where cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg are located, while large areas of Siberia and the Far East remain sparsely populated. A peculiar and quite striking fact is that Russia is considered the country with the highest number of single women in the world. Alongside the natural and cultural beauties you'll find, an essential part of this charm lies in its women. Russia is globally renowned for having some of the most beautiful women in the world, as evidenced by the success of Russian women in various international beauty contests. However, a surprising statistic highlights not just their physical appearance but also one of the country's main peculiarities: Russia is considered the place with the highest number of single women in the world. Several censuses indicate that the number of women in the country significantly exceeds the number of men. There are approximately 73 million men and 84 million women. In other words, there are over 11 million more women than men. This gender imbalance has led many Russian women to consider leaving the country in search of a relationship. An interesting detail about Russian women is their love for dressing well, whether they are heading to the bakery or taking out the trash. It's always important for them to look well-groomed and wear makeup. This is one of the principles Russian women live by. They believe it's necessary to draw attention through appearance and elegance, showcasing their inner beauty as well. With this in mind, we'd like to ask, would you like to visit Russia and meet its women? This difference between men and women in Russia is directly linked to the recent history of the world's largest country. Understanding its history is essential to grasping the current reality of Russia, a nation that has undergone significant changes over the centuries. With its vast territory and rich history, Russia has long been one of the most influential powers in the world. During the era of the Tsars, before the Revolution of 1917, Russia was one of the largest and most powerful empires, stretching from Eastern Europe to the Pacific. However, World War I and the Russian Civil War that followed marked the beginning of a period of instability that culminated in the creation of the Soviet Union in 1922. Throughout the 20th century, Russia, as part of the Soviet Union, was at the center of some of the world's most critical conflicts, including World War II and the Cold War. World War II had a devastating impact on the Russian population. The Soviet Union suffered immense human losses. Millions of men died on the front lines. These losses left a profound mark on society and contributed to a demographic imbalance that, as you've seen, still persists today, with significantly more women than men in the country. By the late 1980s, the collapse of the Soviet Union marked the beginning of a new era for Russia, characterized by profound political, economic, and social changes. Today, Russia remains a nation with a complex historical legacy, where the past influences many aspects of modern life. On the global stage, Russia plays a crucial role not only because of its size and natural resources but also due to its geopolitical influence. Despite its low population density, its ability to project power and its role in international organizations underscore its importance worldwide. Moreover, its rich history and culture, shaped by diverse ethnicities and traditions, make Russia a unique and fascinating country on the world map. Therefore, Russia is much more than just Putin, its president, or its current conflicts. It is a reality that makes this country one of the most remarkable in the world. Speaking of Putin, did you know he began his career as a KGB spy? Yes, Vladimir Putin started his career in 1975 with the Soviet Secret Service, the KGB, the Russian equivalent of the American CIA. During his time in the KGB, Putin was primarily responsible for counterintelligence before being stationed in Dresden, East Germany. While in Germany, Putin worked on intelligence operations that included gathering information about the West and preventing defections. His time in the organization taught him fundamental skills such as discretion, strategic analysis, and loyalty to the power structure, qualities that would later define his political style as Russia's president. After the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the Soviet Union, Putin returned to Russia and left the KGB in 1991, shortly before the Secret Service dissolved. He then became involved in the politics of St. Petersburg, working for the city's mayor. His political career gained momentum when he was appointed prime minister by then-President Boris Yeltsin in 1999. Speaking of Putin and Russia's power, did you know the center of the country's political and religious authority is known as the Kremlin? While many people think the word Kremlin is synonymous with the Russian parliament, this is not true. Historically, the term Kremlin refers to a fortified city, and there are actually around 20 Kremlins in Russia. The most famous is the massive fortress complex in the heart of Moscow, one of the country's most iconic symbols. Originally built in the 12th century as a medieval fortress, the Kremlin served as the center of Russia's political and religious power for centuries. Inside the Kremlin lies an incredible curiosity, the Great Bell of the Kremlin, weighing an astounding 200 tons, making it the largest bell in the world. However, despite its colossal size, the bell has never been rung because it is cracked and unusable. Behind the Kremlin's walls are palaces, cathedrals, and government offices, including the official residence of the Russian president. The Kremlin is not only a political power hub but also a cultural and historical site, housing museums with priceless treasures like the crowns of the former Tsars and Russian art masterpieces. Its imposing architecture and remarkable history make it a symbol of power and one of Russia's most popular tourist attractions. Directly in front of the Kremlin is the famous Red Square, one of Moscow's most iconic locations and a symbol of Russia's capital. Red Square has hosted pivotal events in Russian history, from Soviet-era military parades to contemporary political demonstrations. It is a true meeting point of history, politics, and culture, offering profound insight into Russian identity. With over 12 million residents, Moscow is Russia's largest and most populous city. It is the country's political, economic, and cultural center, whose influence extends across its vast territory. The city is vibrant and dynamic, seamlessly blending the old with the new in a fascinating mix. In addition to the Kremlin and Red Square, Moscow is home to an impressive number of theaters, museums, and parks. And if you think you already know everything about the Russian capital, here's a fun fact: Moscow has the second highest concentration of millionaires per capita in the world, second only to New York City. What stands out even more, however, is that for a time, due to the city's chaotic traffic, some of these millionaires rented ambulances to move around more quickly. And there's more. Moscow is also known for its Stalinist architecture, with the imposing skyscrapers known as the Seven Sisters dominating the city's skyline, as well as its famous metro system, considered one of the most beautiful in the world. Among these skyscrapers, Moscow boasts the tallest building in Eurasia, the Federation Tower, which stands at an impressive 374 meters. This tower is part of Moscow's International Business Center, known as Moscow City, a district of modern skyscrapers symbolizing the capital's economic growth and ambitions. Speaking of Moscow's metro system, it is considered one of the most renowned and beautiful in the world. Built during the Soviet era as a palace of the people, its stations are decorated with sculptures, marble, and luxurious adornments, with 44 of them declared UNESCO World Heritage Sites. The Moscow Metro transports over 10 million people daily. Its network spans 340 kilometers and includes more than 200 stations, making it the fifth largest metro system in the world. During World War II, many of its stations served as shelters against air raids, and some were even designed to withstand nuclear attacks. When it comes to railways, Russia is also known for having the longest railway in the world, the Trans-Siberian Railway. This impressive route stretches 9,289 kilometers and connects Moscow with Vladivostok on the Pacific coast. The entire journey takes approximately 7 days without stops and passes through stunning landscapes, from boreal forests to crystal-clear lakes like Lake Baikal, the deepest in the world. The Siberian region, where this massive railway ends and where the magnificent Lake Baikal is located, is one of the most extreme and challenging places for life on the planet. However, it is an inhabited area full of secrets and fascinating realities, making it one of the most unique regions in the world. Siberia is known for its vast natural landscapes, extreme climate, and its unique history and culture, which stem from its location in one of the world's most remote areas. It covers an impressive 13.1 million square kilometers, an area equivalent to the combined size of Mexico and Brazil. Despite this vastness, Siberia has only 40 million inhabitants, 70% of whom live in urban areas. This region is so large that it accounts for around 76% of Russia's total land area. However, due to its harsh climate and challenging conditions, it has one of the lowest population densities in the world, with only 3 people per square kilometer. This isolation is precisely why, many years ago, the Russian regime decided to build a massive prison in Siberia, far removed from the rest of the world. You might wonder, how could such a remote and inhospitable place become habitable? The answer lies in history, when the Russian regime decided to construct one of the harshest and most remote prisons, the infamous Gulag. To understand what the Gulag was, it's essential to know that the name is a Russian acronym for Main Administration of Camps and Places of Detention. Under Soviet rule, Siberia became synonymous with suffering and oppression. To punish political dissidents and anyone perceived as a threat to the regime, the Gulag, a system of forced labor camps, was established in remote Siberia. Thousands of people were sent to these camps, where they endured inhumane conditions and grueling work in a relentless environment. The establishment of the Gulag was driven not only by political motives but also by the need to exploit Siberia's vast natural resources. Prisoners were used to build roads, railways, and other infrastructure under extremely challenging conditions. Beyond its official purpose, the Gulag became a place of terror and despair, where life held little value and death was a constant. Over the years, many mysteries and legends have emerged about these camps. More recently, the Gulag has also been linked to the death of one of its most famous prisoners, Russian political dissident, lawyer, and activist Alexei Anatolyevich Navalny. In addition to Navalny's recent death, it is said that Siberian forests are filled with mass graves containing the remains of thousands of forgotten prisoners. There are even stories of ghosts wandering through deserted camps, seeking justice for those who were unjustly condemned. These stories deepen the mystery surrounding the Gulag and remind us of the depths of human cruelty and the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Siberia's extreme climate is one of the region's most striking and challenging features. With long winters and short yet intense summers, Siberia experiences extreme temperature fluctuations throughout the year. Here are some important facts about Siberia's climate and how it affects life there. The climate is so severe that the coldest place on Earth, a small village called Oymyakon, is located in Siberia. Temperatures there push the limits of human endurance. Oymyakon, known as the Pole of Cold, recorded an astonishing temperature of -72 degrees Celsius, a record that highlights the harshness of Siberia. Amid this frozen landscape, the inhabitants of Oymyakon have built lives adapted to extreme conditions, where the warmth of community and traditional survival techniques are essential to withstand the rigors of Siberian winters. Living in such a challenging environment requires constant adaptation and exceptional resilience from its residents. When you think about this resilience, alongside the Gulag and its inhospitable conditions, another fascinating fact makes Siberia unique. Although Siberia is not a country, it is a vast region that spans much of northern Asia, primarily within Russian territory. Siberia is so massive that it accounts for approximately 77% of Russia's total land area, covering over 13 million square kilometers. To put its size into perspective, Siberia could accommodate several South American countries like Brazil, Argentina, and Peru combined, and there would still be plenty of room to spare. Although Siberia is the largest region, it has an extremely low population density, with only 3 inhabitants per square kilometer. Few people dare to live there. Believe it or not, for many years, Siberia was also home to the loneliest person on the planet. That title belongs to a Siberian woman named Agafia Lykova, who became known as the world's hermit because she lived in complete isolation in the Siberian mountains, hundreds of kilometers from her nearest neighbors, for almost 84 years. This woman has no electricity or transportation and survives on potatoes and vegetables she grows herself. She also owns a fishing net and a goat she milks daily. Lykova and her family fled Stalin's religious persecution in 1936. They later had 4 children and lived isolated from the rest of the world. She was so isolated that she lived through World War II without knowing what had happened. In 1978 he had his first contact with strangers, a group of Soviet geologists who told him about Stalin's death. Agafia's 3 brothers died in 1981 and her father died in 1998. Since then she has lived with Erofi Serov, a geologist who lives a few meters from her house. Erofi died in 2015 and continues to live in his mountain cabin, completely isolated from the world. We are surprised and even impressed that a person can live so far from the rest of the world, especially in a place where there is constant snow and ice, which makes life very complicated. Before continuing, we would like to ask you, do you think you could live alone in the depths of Siberia or in villages like Oymyakon? If so, how long do you think it could last? Pause the video and leave your comment. By doing this, you'll help us bring you more content like this. Known as the Pearl of Siberia, Lake Baikal is the most valuable treasure of this remote region. With its crystal-clear waters and mysterious depths, it is the oldest and deepest lake in the world and is home to unique biodiversity and stunning landscapes. In winter, Lake Baikal transforms into a magical landscape where frozen water forms impressive crystalline ice sculptures. Lake Baikal is the largest freshwater reservoir in the world and contains 1/5 of the planet's freshwater reserves. With a depth of more than 1,640 meters, this lake is also the deepest freshwater reservoir, equivalent to 2 stacked skyscrapers of the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, at more than 820 meters. Another unique place in the world that exists in Siberia is the Ural Mountains. These mountains separate Europe from Asia and form a mountain range of impressive beauty. With rugged peaks, deep valleys and vast forests, the Urals are a paradise for hikers, climbers and explorers. In addition to its stunning landscapes, the Urals are also home to a rich history and culture with centuries-old settlements and traditions. In addition to Lake Baikal and the Ural Mountains, Siberia also has one of the most fascinating forests on the planet, which many consider an endless forest. The Siberian taiga is the largest forest in the world and extends across vast areas of Siberia covered by endless conifers. This unique ecosystem, also known as the boreal forest, occupies around 60% of the country and covers more than 10 million square kilometers. The taiga is home to an incredible variety of wildlife, including bears, lynx, elk, deer, and many others. If you made it this far, comment Siberia below and stay tuned for upcoming videos that will help you travel the world without leaving home. Until next time.